held at the Civic Offices on Monday, the 11th of August at 2045 at 10 o'clock. As usual, I read out the opening statement by the chairperson. Can I welcome all members and officers to this meeting of the Rights Away Subcommittee, which has been convened as a hybrid meeting. The meeting will be recorded and will be available on the Council's website and viewed as soon as possible following this meeting. The meeting agenda pack can also be viewed on the Council's website. Everyone participating in the meeting will be attending either through the council chamber or from remote locations. Members attending remotely must keep their cameras on for the duration of the meeting. However, all attendees should keep their microphones off until invited to speak. Members and officers can indicate how they want to speak by pressing the hands up icon. In the event of a vote, the Democratic Services Officer will call out the names of the members who will cast their votes. I will now proceed to the agenda business. Okay. Has anybody not pressed one? Okay. To receive apologies for absence, I've had Helen Donovan from the Horse Society as an apology. Anybody else got any apologies? No? Okay, thank you for that. Any declarations of interest? No? Okay, thank you for that. Number 3, this is going back a long time. Approval of minutes. To receive and approve the minutes of the Rights Away Subcommittee of the 11th of the 4th, 25. Can somebody formally move and second, please?
I move, Chair.
Thank you.
I'll second, Chair.
Okay, thank you both. Okay. Proposed part diversion of footpath 55, Coiterain. I will now hand you over to Andrew Mason, the Rights Away Officer, to go through the what we discussed on site. Andrew?
Thanks, Chair. The purpose of this report is to request authorisation to make an order to divert a section of footpath 55, Coitchurch Higher, on land between Hir Lythog and Hir Kew Bridge End, pursuant to section 257 of the Town and Country Planning Act 1990. In order to implement a development of national significance authorised under planning consent P/21/1100/DNS for a solar park and ancillary development, a section of footpath 55 Coitchurch Higher would need to be diverted. The plan in Appendix A shows the consent curtilage of the planning consent, whilst the section of footpath which is proposed to be diverted is shown between points A, B and C on the plan in Appendix B. The proposed alternative route of the footpath is shown between points A, D, E, F, G, H and I on the same plan. Paragraph 3.1 of the report describes in detail the section of the footpath which is proposed to be diverted. The approximate length is 435 metres, whilst the width is currently undefined in the definitive statement. The proposed alternative route for the section of footpath 55, Coitchurch Higher, to be diverted is described in detail in paragraph 3.2 of the report and is shown by a dashed black line between points A, D, E, F, G, H and I on the plan in Appendix B. The approximate length of the diversion route is 546 metres and the proposed width is to be 2 metres. The footpath will have a natural surface. The application to divert the section of the footpath was submitted in November 2024, and the proposed alternative route was agreed in principle by the Rights of Way section at that time. As part of the development, and in order to enhance access to the Rights of Way network in the area, the applicant has also proposed to create an additional footpath, as shown between points A, B, C, D and E, on the plan in Appendix C. The footpath would be created by agreement with the developer. Following the submission of the proposal and in accordance with the Council's standard consultation process for public path orders, various organisations, individuals and statutory undertakers were consulted in December 2024. During the consultation process, 3 responses were received. The Bridgend Ramblers offered no objection, whilst the South Wales Police Designing Out Crime Officer offered 4 recommendations, as outlined in the report. St Bride's Minor Community Council advised that they would have no objection, subject to the footpath reverting back to the original definitive alignment when the project ends. In regard to the objection put forward by St Bride's Minor Community Council, members are advised that there is no mechanism to automatically divert the path back to its original alignment upon decommissioning of the solar farm. However, as will be noted from the report, the applicant has issued the following statement. Subject to landowner permission and prior to consultation with the local highway authority and community council at the time, Kennan would seek to make an application for the diversion upon decommissioning. As indicated in the report, the proposal conforms with 2 of the South Wales Police recommendations, namely that the path will be at least 2 metres in width, with at least 1.5 metres of space either side. In addition, there will be gates installed at either end which would restrict vehicle access. In order to facilitate the construction of a solar park and ancillary development as permitted by planning consent at Sinawai and Hela Q, a section of footpath 55 Coedchurch Higher will need to be diverted. Paragraph 3.8 outlines the guidance provided to local authorities by the Welsh Government, which should be taken into account when dealing with applications for diversion orders under the Town and Country Planning Act. In regard to the 3 matters which members should consider in coming to a judgment as to whether to make an order, the report advises as follows. The interests of the public can be said to be satisfied because although the path to be diverted is partly a surface trackway and the proposed diversion is entirely on unmade natural surface, it is in keeping with the surrounding path network and follows a field boundary adjacent to an ancient woodland that improves the amenity value of the proposed route. There will, in addition to the diversion, be a creation for a footpath, as I said, shown between points A, B, C, D and E on the plan in Appendix C, which will create an additional east-west link in the public rights-of-way network. The developer will be responsible for the works to provide the diversion route and the creation of the new footpath. The footpath is being moved from one side of an area of open ground to the other. Therefore, the same properties will still be affected by the route, albeit to a greater or lesser extent. Therefore, there does not appear to be any additional effects of the order on any adjoining landowners. The Council is unaware of any potential financial loss to members of the public. The equality, well-being of future generations, climate change and safeguarding of corporate parenting implications are outlined in sections 4, 5, 6 and 7 of the report. Any financial implications arising from the procedures are expected to be minimal, as the developer will be meeting the cost of the diversion order process and the implementation of all works required. The recommendations are outlined in section 9 of the report.
Thank you, Andrew, for that. Anybody got any questions for Andrew? Well, can I just say I would agree with what the police are saying, and just to remind Andrew that where that bad corner was, what we walked on, we said we were going to divert it to make it a straight line. If that could be done as a matter of urgency as well, Andrew, and then we all fine with that footpath.
Yeah, certainly. We will talk to the landowner about having another possible diversion at the southern end of the path. That will be under the Highways Act, though, because it's not part of this planning consent.
No. Is everybody no more questions?
No, nothing, Chair. I think it'll be a lot better for the walkers.
Okay, well, you can see the recommendation from Andrew. Can somebody formally move and second, please?
I'll move, Chair.
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Joanna. Okay, if we go on to the next one then, please, which is my mistake. I'll just turn over to it. It's the proposed part extension and part diversion of footpath 58, My Steg. Andrew, please.
Thanks, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to request authorisation to make an order to divert a section of footpath 58 My Steg and also to extinguish another section of the same footpath on land east of Sidewise Insulation Limited, Ford Industrial Estate, My Steg, pursuant to Section 257 of the Town and Country Planning Act 1990. In order to implement planning consent P2271 full for the erection of a new building for training and office space with access, parking, landscaping and drainage works, a section of footpath 58 Maesteg will need to be diverted, and a further section of the same footpath will need to be extinguished. The plan in Appendix A shows the consent curtilage of the planning consent. The section of the footpath which is proposed to be diverted is shown between points A and B on the plan in Appendix B. The section of the footpath which is proposed to be extinguished is shown between points C, D and E on that same plan. Paragraph 3.1 of the report describes in detail the section of the footpath which is to be diverted, as well as that part of the footpath which is to be extinguished. The section of footpath to be diverted is 51 metres long and has a tarmacked surface. The route to be extinguished has never been available to the public and has always been obstructed. This is an anomaly on the definitive map. The width of the footpath is undefined in the definitive statement. The proposed alternative route for the section of footpath 58 Maesteg to be diverted is described in detail in paragraph 3.2 of the report. This is shown by a dashed black line between points A, F and G on the plan in Appendix B. The approximate length of the diversion is 138 metres and the proposed width is 3 metres. Details of the surface are provided in the report. The application to divert the footpath was submitted in March 2023 and the proposed alternative route was agreed in principle by the Rights of Way section at that time. The agent for the landowner was also advised that the additional part extinguishment would be necessary to rectify the anomaly on the definitive map, which would otherwise prevent the development. Furthermore, this could be included in the same order. Following the submission of the proposal and in accordance with the Council's standard consultation process for public path orders, various organisations, individuals and statutory undertakers were consulted in December 2024. During the consultation process, 4 representations were received, with the local member, Councillor Penhale Thomas, offering no objection, Maesteg Town Council supporting the proposal, and Wales and West Utilities offering no comment. South Wales Police gave 4 recommendations as outlined in paragraph 3.4 of the report. The Council's response to the South Wales Police's recommendations is provided in paragraph 3.5 of the report. Following receipt of the Council's response, South Wales Police advised that they advise preventing motorcycles as the norm, but realise often this is difficult, sometimes impossible. Paragraph 3.6 outlines the guidance provided by local authorities by the Welsh Government, which should be taken into account when dealing with applications for diversion orders under the Town and Country Planning Act. In regard to the 3 matters which members should be considering in coming to a judgment as to whether to make an order, the report advises as follows. The interest of the public can be said to be satisfied because although the proposed diversion is longer than the existing route, it connects the footpath to the highway network and also removes an anomalous footpath which has never been available to the public. In addition, the current width is undefined, whereas the new width will have a defined width of 3 metres. No works are necessary to bring the footpath into use because the footpath already exists on site as a tarmac surface. The footpath is being moved onto a route that already exists on the ground, and the same landowner will be affected, albeit that the used route will now become legally defined as a public footpath. Therefore, there does not appear to be any additional effects of the order on any adjoining properties. The Council is unaware of any potential financial loss to members of the public. The equality, well-being of future generations, climate change and safeguarding and corporate parenting implications are outlined in sections 4, 5, 6 and 7 of the report. Any financial implications arising from the procedures are expected to be minimal, as the developer will be meeting the cost of the diversion order process and the implementation of any works required by the Council. However, no works are expected as the route is already constructed, as I've already said. The recommendations are outlined in section 9.
Thank you for that, Andrew. Comprehensive report again. Has anybody got any questions?
Nothing, Chair. Or just if we can have the weeds sprayed.
Well, was one of my comments was, Tony, to write to the landowner, right? regarding the vegetation overgrown. So can we put a little paragraph in there, Andrew, or you want to write to him personally or through the authority to tell him that he has to keep that vegetation clean, that part of it clean?
Yeah, we will certainly write to the landowner about that. Obviously, we can't include it in the diversion order, and most of the weeds actually were on the section which is already maintainable highway.
Yeah.
Yes, either myself or the highway maintenance section, we can do that.
Great, thank you for that. Well, you've seen the recommendation from the officer, and there's nobody wanting to ask any questions. Can somebody formally move in second, please?
I move, Chair.
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Joanna. Okay, let me go back to my agenda. I haven't received any urgent items for this morning, so can I thank everybody for turning up and wish everybody a nice day. Thank you very much. I formally close the meeting.